The chilly evening breeze sends a shiver down my spine as I step out of the local coffee shop. The streetlights flicker above, casting long shadows on the pavement. I clutch my phone, its screen lighting up with a new message: running late, love. Traffic is crazy. See you soon. It's from Laura, my wife of 6 years. I smile, typing a quick reply before slipping the phone back into my coat pocket. As I begin the short walk home, a peculiar unease settles over me, an itch at the back of my mind that something is amiss. Maybe it's the way the night has fallen so quickly, or how the traffic seems unusually sparse for this time of evening. Halfway down the block, my phone buzzes. A notification from our shared home security app flashes on the screen. It reads, "Motion detected at front door. Viewing live footage is recommended." I frown, tapping on the alert to view the live feed. What greets me isn't the benign sight of Laura fumbling with her keys, but a scene that tightens my chest in instant dread. The camera, positioned discreetly above our front door, shows Laura standing uncomfortably close to a man in a police uniform. His patrol car is parked askew in our driveway, red and blue lights still flashing silently. They're talking, and even through the silent video, I can tell the conversation is tense. "Please, there must be another way." Laura's voice is audible now, thanks to the camera's sound. Her hands gesture frantically, her expression pleading. "I'm sure we can figure something out," the officer responds, his tone uncomfortably soft. His hand reaches out, brushing hers. I feel a knot tighten in my stomach. I watch, heart hammering in my chest, as they look around nervously before stepping into the shadows beside the house, moving out of the camera's view. The implication of their actions is clear, and a cold fury begins to replace the shock. Without thinking, I start running home, the need to confront this betrayal overwhelming. The streets blur past as scenarios and confrontations play out in my mind. I'm blocks away when my phone vibrates again. Camera 2 activated. Recording. It's the notification for the hidden camera I installed last month in the backyard after a spate of burglaries in our neighborhood. I stop dead in my tracks, opening the app to switch views. There, on the small screen, is the continuation of the nightmare. Laura and the officer are obscured partially by the garden's overgrown hydrangeas, but their actions are unmistakable. Rage, betrayal, and a piercing sense of violation consume me. I record everything, every second of the footage, before they step back into the light, rearranging their clothes, faces flushed. By the time I reach home, the police car is gone, and Laura is sitting on the front steps, her face buried in her hands. My hands tremble as I confront her with the truth. "Why, Laura?" My voice breaks the silence, sharp and accusing. She jumps, looking up with tears streaming down her face. "I didn't know what to do. He said he could make the ticket go away, Anne. And you thought selling yourself was the answer?" I spit the words out, disgust coating every syllable. "I was scared. I didn't think." "No, you didn't think about us, about me. You only thought about yourself." I interrupt, my voice rising. She reaches out, but I step back, holding up my phone. "I saw everything, Laura. It's over. We're over." Her sobs fill the night as I turn away, the cold settling deeper into my bones. The marriage I thought was built on trust and love was nothing but a facade. Now, with the truth revealed, there's no going back. The path forward is clear: revenge against the betrayal, and a divorce to sever the ties that bound me to a lie. As I walk away, the weight of my broken heart is matched only by the resolve to right the wrongs done this night. The morning light does little to warm the cold dread that settled in my heart overnight. I sit at the kitchen table, the remnants of last night's confrontation scattered like debris in a storm, Laura's tear-stained apology letter, my hastily packed suitcase. I'm ready to leave, but not before I set things in motion. I dial the number for the local police department, my fingers steady, my resolve steelier. As the phone rings, I rehearse the words in my mind. A voice on the other end picks up. "Good morning, Henderson Police Department, Officer Miller speaking." "Officer, my name is Jack Sullivan." I need to report misconduct by one of your officers. It involves bribery and more, I say, the last word tasting bitter. Mr. Sullivan, I assure you, we take these accusations very seriously. Can you provide the officer's name and the details of the incident? Officer Miller's voice is professional, but I detect a note of surprise. His name is Officer Dan Richards. I have video evidence of his negotiations with my wife to dismiss a traffic violation in exchange for favors. There's a pause, and then, we need you to come in, Mr. Sullivan. Bring the footage. We'll handle it from here. An hour later, I'm at the police station, the USB drive heavy in my pocket. I'm led into an interview room where a woman in a suit waits. She introduces herself as Detective Laura Kim, no relation to my wife. As I hand over the USB drive, her expression is unreadable. We'll need to verify this footage and investigate your claims thoroughly, Mr. Sullivan. Corruption is not taken lightly here. I understand, Detective. I expect justice, I say, my voice hard. She nods, her eyes sharp. If your claims are substantiated, Officer Richards will face charges. You should also know the implications for your wife. I'm aware, I cut her off, the words like shards of glass in my throat. As I leave the station, my phone buzzes. It's an unknown number. Hesitant, I answer. Jack Sullivan? The voice is gruff, unfamiliar. Speaking. This is Thomas Drake, Dan Richards' attorney. I suggest you cease this slanderous campaign against my client or face legal consequences. Everything I've said is backed by evidence. You'll see it in court, I reply, a surge of defiant energy coursing through me. We'll see about that, Mr. Sullivan. The call ends with a click that sounds like a gauntlet being thrown. As I walk away from the station, a plan begins to form. Dan Richards and his lawyer won't go down without a fight, and neither will I. But first, I need allies. I make several stops around town, visiting old friends who had once been part of my life before Laura isolated me from them with her needs and dramas. At each stop, I'm met with a mix of shock and support. By the end of the day, I have more than just allies, I have a network ready to help me take on the challenge. But as I rally my forces, I can't shake off the feeling that I'm being watched. Glancing over my shoulder, I catch brief glimpses of figures ducking out of sight. Paranoia, perhaps, fueled by betrayal, or maybe something more. The battle lines are drawn, and as I prepare for the fight ahead, I know one thing for sure, the storm is just beginning. The evening air is crisp as I pull into the parking lot of a dimly lit diner on the outskirts of town. The place, a favorite old haunt known for its anonymity, is the perfect setting for the meeting I've arranged. Inside, the buzz of hushed conversations and the clink of cutlery provide a comforting backdrop. I spot my contact, Marcus, sitting in a booth at the back, nursing a coffee. Marcus, a former investigative journalist, now runs a blog that exposes corruption in small towns. He's the kind of guy who knows things that people shouldn't know, which makes him invaluable right now. As I approach, he looks up, his eyes sharp beneath the brim of his hat. Jack, he greets me, his voice low. You look like hell. Feels about right, I reply, sliding into the seat across from him. I quickly outline the situation, Laura's betrayal, the corrupt cop, and the lawyer's threats. Marcus listens, nodding occasionally, his fingers drumming on the table. When I finish, he leans forward, his expression serious. I can help you dig up dirt on Richards and his lawyer. But Jack, you need to be prepared for the backlash. These types don't play nice. I'm past caring about playing nice, I assert, my jaw set. We'll need solid evidence. I think I know a few people who might have had run-ins with Richards before. I'll see what I can shake loose. Thanks, Marcus. I knew I could count on you, I say, feeling a flicker of hope amidst the chaos. As we wrap up, my phone vibrates. It's a text from an unknown number, be careful who you trust. You're not the only one watching. Chills run down my spine as I show Marcus the message. He frowns, his brow furrowing. This is serious, Jack. You might want to lay low for a while, he advises, his tone cautious. Can't. Not when we're this close, I respond, the resolve in my voice stronger than my fear. We part ways, and as I drive home, the weight of Marcus's words and the anonymous warning linger in my mind. Paranoia creeps in, dark and insidious. I find myself checking the rearview mirror constantly, the shadows between streetlights seeming to shift suspiciously. Back at my apartment, I double-check the locks and survey the street from my window. It's quiet, too quiet. My computer pings with an incoming email. It's from Marcus, a file attached labeled richards_contacts.xlsx. Excited, I open it, scrolling through names and notes, evidence of Richard's previous misconducts and shady connections. I'm deep into the files when another ping startles me. It's another email, this time from an encrypted address. The message is simple and to the point: stop digging or else. The threat is clear, but so is my course. I can't back down, not now. I draft a reply to Marcus, detailing my next steps and asking for any information on who might be sending these threats. As I hit send, I realize the gravity of what I'm entangled in. It's no longer just about a personal vendetta, it's about exposing a network of corruption that's rotting the town from within. The real battle, it seems, is just beginning, and I'm right at the heart of it. The stakes are higher, the enemies more dangerous, and the allies more precious than ever. This fight, I realize, is about more than just revenge, it's about justice. And I'm ready for whatever comes next. The city's relentless pace seems to slow as I approach the courthouse, my heart pounding with anticipation and dread. Today is the culmination of weeks of gathering evidence and rallying support against Officer Dan Richards and his deep-seated corruption. The air feels heavy with the promise of impending justice or retribution. I enter the packed courtroom, scanning the crowd for familiar faces. My eyes lock on Laura sitting in the back, her expression one of apprehension mixed with a regret that seems genuine. Our eyes meet briefly before I turn away, the wound of her betrayal still raw. The trial progresses with rapid-fire exchanges. Marcus, now sitting beside me, nudges my arm, handing me a last-minute piece of evidence that could tilt the scales definitively in our favor. It's a recording of Richards accepting a bribe from another victim, a piece so damning that even his slick lawyer seems to pale at its mention. Your Honor, we present this additional evidence, not only to support Mr. Sullivan's claims, but to highlight a pattern of abuse of power by Officer Richards, Marcus declares confidently as he plays the recording. The courtroom falls eerily silent, the gravity of the corruption laid bare. Richards shifts uncomfortably, his eyes darting around the room, landing on his lawyer, then on me, and finally, despairingly, on Laura. His face contorts with a mixture of anger and fear as his fate becomes apparent. The judge calls for a recess, and as the courtroom empties, Laura approaches me hesitantly. Jack, Save it, I cut her off sharply, not ready to hear her excuses. I was scared, Jack. I thought he'd arrest me. I didn't know how else to fix it, she pleads, her voice cracking with emotion. By betraying everything we had? I retort, the hurt resurfacing. Before Laura can respond, an officer approaches and whispers something into Richard's ear. The color drains from his face. He stands abruptly, his chair clattering behind him, and he makes a break for the door. But before he can get far, he's tackled to the ground by two officers. In the chaos, his lawyer rushes over, his face a mask of fury and disbelief. You idiot! You were recording your own dealings, he hisses at Richards, who now lies handcuffed on the floor. The courtroom buzzes with whispered speculations and gasps as the truth comes out. Richards had been wearing a wire, intending to incriminate a higher-up in his scheme, but instead, he recorded his own guilty dealings. His plan to save himself had backfired spectacularly. The judge re-enters, calling the room to order. Given the overwhelming evidence and the defendant's own recorded admissions, I am calling for an immediate verdict, he declares, his voice echoing in the stunned silence. Richards is found guilty on multiple counts of corruption and bribery. As he is led away, his eyes meet mine one last time, filled with a venomous defeat. Laura steps closer to me, her eyes searching mine for any sign of forgiveness. Jack, can we? There's nothing left to say, I interrupt, the finality in my voice more painful than I'd anticipated. Goodbye, Laura. As I walk away, the weight of the past weeks begins to lift, but the ache of betrayal lingers. Outside, the sun breaks through the clouds, a symbol of new beginnings. Though the victory is bittersweet, I feel a sense of closure and the stirrings of hope for a future unburdened by deceit. The intrigue and the battles had revealed not just the corruption of one man, but the strength of a community to rally for justice. As I start down the steps of the courthouse, I realize that while some paths are meant to part forever, the journey onward is filled with the promise of renewal and integrity.